Hello everyone, and welcome to a video on the Constructive Criticism YouTube channel. I'm Spencer, host of Constructive Criticism and Limited Time Only, two podcasts about getting better at Magic the Gathering. Today we're going to talk about something special to me, because it should be special to you if you have this happening in your life. We're going to talk about marriage and magic. So, for those who don't know, I'm married to a beautiful woman named Devonair Howland, and she's the love of my life, and she puts up with me making tons of magic content. And it's really cool of her that she does that. And I am going to openly state at the beginning of this video, I'm not the best at what we're going to talk about today. And what I want to talk about today is marriage and magic, and what that looks like for those of you wanting to play, highly competitive Magic or have aspirations. Like me, I don't play on the Pro Tour regularly, and but I have aspirations to go to every Pro Tour one day and maybe get gold or things like that. And for the last year or so, I kind of turned off the competitive Magic thing and didn't play as much. And now that I'm getting back into it, I kind of want to talk about, do this video to both set goals for myself and to kind of communicate what in the past has worked for me to be better at being a better husband while playing competitive Magic. So let's start with time. So there's a few things that I do when I'm playing competitive Magic that are really important, that I think really help. The first one is I have a dedicated date night with my wife. And just so we know, just so I can be upfront, there might be times where I recommend things with her for competitive Magic. When I state her, it can apply to your significant other, whether it's a male or a female. Whether it's your husband, your wife, your partner, whoever it is. I'm just going from my reference. I'm not saying that it doesn't work if your partner is not a female. But yeah, so date night. So we're really good at this a while back, where every single Friday was date night, and I'm doing my best to bring that back so that we can spend very good quality time together. I find that having a dedicated day together gets you excited about it during the week. You can talk about it, plan what your date's going to look like, and it's really fun. It gives the both parties something to look forward to during the week. And having me on a Friday night, on a night that is good for both of you, especially for them, it's the end of their work week, and it's really nice. And I would highly recommend that if you're going to be playing Magic tournaments a lot during the weekend, you don't go to F&M, skip F&Ms and use Friday night as date night. You're actively skipping Magic events that you could be playing every week for them, and I think that communicates how important they are to you. And it's really important that you have the chance to do that. The second thing is something that I'm terrible at, and that's making an effort to do chores. It's really easy to get stuck on Moto or Cockatrice or at an F&M or a Wednesday night event out at some game store. And I think it's important that take an hour to maybe do some chores each day if you can, or 3 days a week. Whatever their expectations are that you can help meet with the housework or with a baby or whatever you're doing. I would recommend it. It's going to make them feel like, even though you're out playing Magic, that you're thinking about them and the house and the family, and I think that's really important. I would also just separate time to hang out. So, for example, my wife and I watch basketball together. Not basketball. Well, sometimes she'll watch basketball with me, but like during football season, we watch football most Sundays. During PPTQ season, it's Sundays are kind of just football with my wife. We hang out and watch football, and football season really brings us close together because we both really enjoy it. So if you have an activity that you both really enjoy together, I would recommend just doing that more often. You're gonna be spending a lot of time at Magic stores playing 8-hour events, and that's like another work day. So for you, I would recommend just making time to hang out outside of a dedicated date night. Find time during the week. Say, maybe I'll skip this event this week so I can hang out with my significant other, or just find activities that you guys enjoy. Go on a walk together. There's definitely, if you're going to do something, always be inviting them to do it with you. That will make sure that you have more time together, because Magic will occupy a lot of your time if you're playing competitive Magic. Next, I kind of already mentioned this, but skip some events. It's okay to take a weekend off from PPTQing or GP grinding and just say, you know what, this weekend I'm going to hang out with my family, because the grind is real. And I think that what we don't often realize is that while the grind is really hard for us as Magic players, it can be really hard for your spouse and your significant other as well, because that time is time that they lose from you as well, and that time can be valuable to them. So if you can afford to skip events every once in a while, you should definitely be doing it to make sure that they realize that that they're important to you, and that you value spending time with them as well. The other thing that I would say is, if you aren't going to be skipping very many events, when you can, invite them to go along. Trips to Vegas. My wife has been to multiple Vegas trips with me when there's a Magic event down there. She's actually I think she always goes when there's a trip in Vegas. If you're going to a Pro Tour that is in a special place, I would recommend saving up some money and taking your significant other with you if you can. I know the Pro Tour is important, and sometimes that can be distracting, but I think if you communicate what's important during that event for you, maybe set aside some days, if you can afford it, to go a little bit early to spend some days with them and some time with them, and then say this time during the trip is dedicated to me practicing for the Pro Tour. I think it's manageable, and if you're going to a GP, then it doesn't even matter. Just set aside some extra time to do stuff during the GP. There's tons of things that you can be doing. There's concerts, events, things like that, art museums, tons of places that you can go when you're visiting cities for GPs that they can take a part in too. So if you can afford it, I would definitely do that. It may make the trip more expensive, but I think that it will make it more meaningful, and you'd be more willing to save up and go to GPs with your significant other if you were making an event out of it for both of you. So I would highly recommend looking into that. The other thing I want to talk about is communication. So it's really easy to just get lost in a sea of events and not be communicating them to your significant other when you're trying to grind PPTQs and GPs. I would say one of the huge things you can do is just create a Google Calendar that you two share and put things on it, and so that you can look at it throughout the week and see where you're at. They can put things on it ahead of time so that you can look at them before committing to going to events, things like that. It's pretty cool, and something that my wife and I are just trying to start, and I think it's going to be really helpful for us. The other thing is, don't tell your significant other that you're going to do things. Frame it in a question. It's important for them to feel like they're a part of the decision and to actually be a part of the decision. So when it's going to be, they might have not communicated something that they wanted to do with to you. And if you are sitting there telling them where you're going and that you're doing things, it's going to be harder for that communication to happen, rather than making it open communication that they can participate in and tell you when they would prefer you not go to events. So asking permission is really important before you commit to things. And on that note, it's going to be really important to keep your significant other informed of the decisions you're making and the events you're going to. Because they're going to be places where you're not, where people ask them if they want to do stuff, and if you're not there, if you're not telling them about events, they're going to commit to things, and then they're going to have to cancel, or you're going to have to cancel, and it gets awkward. So do what you can to keep them informed. And another way that you can do this is to really give them resources so that they can be up to date. So, for example, Utah has a UtahMagicEvents.com website that has a Google Calendar of all the PPTQs, nearby GPs, and big Magic events, so that my wife can just go on there and look at it and say, "Are you going to this? Are you going to this?" And it makes communication a lot easier. So even if you have to make that Google Calendar yourself, like I mentioned before, or if you have a resource of the area near you, whatever it is, having that kind of resource is really helpful, where they can access it when you're not around. And it's pretty cool. So I would highly recommend something like that if it's available to you. The other thing that I would say is always try and explain why Magic is important to your significant other if you haven't. If you are playing in 11 PPTQs and 6 GPs, and 6 GPs and all these events every year, that's a lot of weekends away, and they should know why you want to do it, why it's important to you, and you should be able to communicate with that why that is, because it is, if it's important to you enough to take that much time away from your significant other, they deserve to know why it's important to you, so that they can share in that experience and excitement with you that you have and those celebrations when things go right for you in those events. And it will make those events more meaningful if they understand why they're so important to you. The other thing that I would say in communication is you need to be able to understand when they're telling you you're playing too much. So if they feel neglected, it's time to talk to them about it and find a way to fix that. Maybe it's a month-long magic break, who knows? But if they feel like they need more time with you, it's something that you need to listen to so that they don't feel like magic is the most important thing. So for example, right now I'm recording a video and my baby's downstairs crying. And I asked my wife before I recorded this video if it was okay. And I still am a little worried that it's not okay. So it's hard. It's hard to convey, when do you have time to record this video, Spencer? Or like, and is that video more important than the things that I need done? And it's important that it's not, that when I'm done with this video, I go downstairs and I help her with whatever she needs help with. And it's hard to do that, and it's hard to. You need to listen when they're saying something, and you need to convey. You need to convey what's important to you, and and you need to make them more important than magic as well. You need to check yourself, to be completely honest. I really suck at this. I'm really bad at checking where I'm at and seeing if... There he is. I'm really bad at checking myself and seeing where I'm at and making sure that I'm at a place that's okay for my family. And it's really important that you do that. You need to be honest and say and notice where you're at so that you can make the best decision possible when you're deciding to go to an event. Even if you think things are going really well, try and ask. Make sure that they feel the same way you do. Go out and say, hey, like, I've been playing a lot of Magic lately. How are we feeling about this? Is there anything that I could be doing better around the house? Anything that I could be improving on? And make that a communication rather than making it an assumption. And it will improve. First of all, it will show them that you are thinking about them and that you do care, and that will make it easier for them to feel like it's okay for you to go to events, which is what you want, right? You want to be able to go to these events, but you also want to have a healthy relationship with your significant other. And then make the time you have special with them too. So, something that I'm trying to do more lately is that when we go on dates, I just leave my phone at home. I don't want to be able to be tempted to talk to the viewer, while I'm hanging out with my wife. I don't want, and I want to be a part of that moment with my wife. And so I'm trying, and I'm really bad at it because I love having my phone on me, to leave my phone around more often and not put my wife in a situation where she feels like she's not with me when we're out together. And the other things you can do is do things that they actively enjoy. So if your wife wants to go to a ballet, go to a ballet with her. Try and experience it. Try and learn why she likes it. She's trying to learn, or he's trying to learn, your significant other, is trying to learn the thing that you enjoy and make that a part of their lives by letting you participate in it and having that time taken away from you. Do the same for them. Maybe if you have a kid, take the kid for a day and let them go to something that they enjoy for 8 hours. It's hard, and I'm not good at it. I'm not saying that I'm good at it. But if you do these things, I think that marriage and relationships get easier for you when you're taking so much time away from your significant other to play Magic, which is honestly really hard. So those are kind of my tips. That's kind of my thoughts. Don't forget to check out puremtgo.com for more videos that I do every week on the website. You can also watch this on YouTube. If you haven't, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please do. Every subscription really helps build up the channel. You can also go to patreon.com/ccmtg to become a patron of my content. Any amount that you see fit really helps. You can start at $1 more per month, and every little bit helps. We're getting close to the point where I'd really like to start paying Danny and Michael, who are my co-hosts on my podcast, a little extra money to help them, just to make it easier on them and make this more enticing for them so we can make more awesome content. If you have any comments or you have any tips for anybody watching the video, please leave a comment, press the like button. It might be over here, I don't know. But thank you, everybody. I really appreciate all the support that I get doing this kind of stuff, and we'll see you guys all next time.